Advanced copywriting secret number 5. This is very, very important. Remember, it's not about copywriting. It's not about writing. It's about what? Closing. And how do you close? How do you close? You write the way that you talk. You write the way that you talk. Now you notice, if you have read my copy, email, or FU Money, how many of you, when you read FU Money, if you read FU Money, you can feel I'm talking to you. It's like we're having a conversation. Yes? That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because I am talking to you. I write the way I talk. When you write the way you talk, it's much easier to connect. How many of you also read like textbook? Remember back in school? Like those boring, long textbook? Like it's so fucking dry. You're like, oh my fucking God, this is so boring. Yes, right? Now, when you read that, you don't feel like the author of that textbook is talking to you. It's talking over you, right? It's talking like passively, or I don't fucking get this shit, right? It's still writing. But why is that? Because they don't write. If you look at those textbooks, that's not how you talk. You don't talk like you're like, you're writing a textbook, right? You're falling asleep. The biggest sin that you could have when it comes to copywriting is being boring. So write the way you talk. This is great. Because when you talk, for most of us, you don't use very complicated, complex words. We talk like we talk, right? So whatever you learn in school, grammar, all that, throw that out the window. It doesn't matter. Like it has to be all grammatically correct. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yes.
I'm sure there are people who are with us right now. They're thinking, hey, but my industry, I got to be professional. I work with lawyers. I work with business owners, right? I can't just write the way I talk. Don't I have to use big words and then be all professional, right? Like how they taught me in university?
Hell fucking no. Even doctors. Have you ever seen doctors writing? Even think
like
about
a robot.
Yeah, think about that. Even I can tell you, like I have done business with big time CEOs, highly educated, big company. They want stuff simple because their life is complex enough. Don't make it difficult for them to read your message. Keep it simple. Now, just because you keep it simple doesn't mean you don't keep it professional. They're two different things. They're not the same thing.
Okay.
Okay? You got to make it easy for them to, of course, if you're a doctor, use the doctor verbiage, but don't fucking use like words that it takes them a lot of time to process, because when they look at your shit, they look at your copy, your message. Okay, this is going to take me a lot of effort to understand. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to put it aside and they're going to say, I'm going to come back to this. But guess what? They don't come back to it. They don't come back to it. So you need to grab them right there, grab their attention, hook them in, make it simple. So it flows. The purpose of a headline. What is the purpose of a headline? Tell me, what is the purpose of a headline? The purpose of the headline is to get them to read the first paragraph. The purpose of the headline is not to make the sale. The purpose of the headline is to make them read the first paragraph. That is it. What's the purpose of the first paragraph? Tell me. To read the second paragraph. You're good.
Damn. A lot of smart people.
You're getting it. You're getting it. Right? It's not to make the sale. But how many of you have seen ads trying to make that sell in the headline? Or they're trying to make that sell in the first paragraph? How many have seen dumb ads like that? That's not what we do. So forget about like proper English. Of course, you want it to be decent English, but it's not what we learn in school. You write the way you talk. You write the way you talk. Ed, can you do something like do a very proper textbook Give me a message. Do it like bad. Do it boring. Do it like professor bullshit. Or Steven.
Okay, I got an idea. Good afternoon. The precipitation today in the atmosphere is 95 degrees, and there's a 25% chance of rain. So,
right?
It's like there's no connection. There's no. It is not relatable.
Okay, do the same message. How can you make it sensational and direct and simple?
There's a 20% chance of rain. Grab your umbrellas.
Boom. How you make it emotional? There's 20% chance it's gonna rain. You'll be soaking wet. Now you paint a picture in their mind. See that? You see? Chance it's gonna rain. You'll be soaking wet. Now you paint a picture in their mind. See that? You see that? It's those words, those emotional words, right? It's hot. It's boiling hot. Words, those emotional words, right? It's hot. It's boiling hot. You see how adding that one word creates a different image in your mind? Just one word. See, that's the power of copy. One little word creates an entirely different emotion. One little thing. You see it in your mind. And when you're writing copy, a lot of the mistakes that a lot of copywriters make is they use a lot of I or a lot of we. We are this and we are that, and when you are selling, when you're closing in print, ideally you want to use a lot of you, because what's in it for them, right? WIIFM, what's in it for them, instead of using I. So use a lot of you. You should, if you read a copy, you should have like 2-3 times more you than I. Focus on you. Another mistake that a lot of people make is they are talking to groups. Think about this. Let's say you're reading a message on a web page, or you're reading a direct mail piece, you're writing an email, you're reading an email. When you're reading a particular message, a marketing message, chances are, at any given time, only you are reading it. Yes? It's one person. So it's a one-on-one communication. It's very critical. It is one-on-one connection between you and the copywriter, the person who's sending the message. So if it's one-on-one, why do you talk to them in groups? Why do you talk to them? It's like if I'm talking to you if I'm writing copy, I'm talking to group. In your mind, subconsciously, what you're saying is, who are these people? Who's this group you're talking about? It's only me in the room, only me on the computer, only me reading this letter. Talk to them one-on-one. That's why I use a lot of you. You use a lot of you. Having that one-on-one communication. Talk to them one-on-one. You also want to use short sentences, simple words. If you're on my email list, you'll see our paragraph is short. We don't have like a 10-line paragraph because it's very difficult to read. Readership is important. Readership is important. Make it simple. Make it simple. I'll give you a perfect example. Again, can I give you a bonus? Can I give you a bonus? It's not part of today's teaching. Okay. Whenever I'm speaking to a large group of people, I never, ever, ever use ladies and gentlemen. How many have heard of this before? Right? At a wedding, at a conference, people say, ladies and gentlemen. Yes? You can watch every single one of my fucking video. You will never ever see me use that term. Why? Because the minute you use ladies and gentlemen, I've lost the audience. This is deep. This should be like a public speaking then on demand course, but maybe in a couple months. When you use ladies and gentlemen, your audience who's listening to you in a public setting, in a group, where you are seeing a group of people. However, your audience is having a one-on-one connection with you because they only see you on stage. So they are having a one-on-one communication with you, but yet the speaker is talking to the group. You see this? So think about this. If I am a man, I am sitting in the audience, one-on-one, would I come up to you and say, one-on-one, ladies and gentlemen? Would you walk up to a person, a friend, and say, hey, ladies and gentlemen? You see how stupid is that? Right? Like, I'm not a lady. And same thing, talking to a lady, I'm not a gentleman. What the fuck are you talking about? And definitely, you are not ladies and gentlemen. Like, what, you're half man, half woman? What is this? You see how stupid that is when it comes to communication? Yet so many people make that mistake. So subconsciously, what happens is, it might sound okay, so many people use it. They walk up to the station, hey, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you lost me. You don't give a fuck about me. Because I'm not a lady and I'm not a gentleman. And I'm definitely not half lady, half gentleman. I'm not interested in your message. Subconsciously, you've already tuned out before you say a fucking thing. You've lost the audience. You see how this works? One-on-one. It is the same skill when it comes to copywriting. Talk to them one-on-one. Don't talk to groups. Talk to one-on-one. Imagine when you are writing, when you're copywriting, I'll give you a visualization exercise. When we are writing, you want to think of a person almost sitting across the table from you. And you visualize your ideal client, your ideal prospect. And you just write to that one client. Visualize your ideal, upon writing, I'll give you a visualization exercise. When we are writing, you want to think of a person almost sitting across the table from you. And you visualize your ideal client, your ideal prospect. And you just write to that one person. If it's a man, it's a woman, it's a doctor, it's a lawyer, just one person sitting in front of you. How would you talk to that person? And you write. I'll give you another tip. I'm giving you a lot of bonus. It's not all, none of this is I'm going the extra mile for you. That if you're having trouble you're struggling with writing, talk. Just imagine your ideal prospect sitting in front of you. You talk to that person. And what you do, you record it, and then you can go to any of these sites and you can transcribe it. You transcribe what you say because you write the way you talk. Then you take that as almost a starting point, a template. And from there, you can do any modification, any editing that you want. But you've got a nice piece starting from there. You see how this works? Yeah, you can go to rev.com, rev.com. That's what we use as well. So if you don't know how to write, that's a very good way to do it.
I was just going to say, Sifu, do you mind if I add something real quick?
Anytime. Just jump in.
Back when I had a ton of copywriting clients, like a lot of times what I would do, and I'm sure Ed does this, and any great copywriter, they would do this too, is they would just normally when you get on the phone with your ideal prospect, you just ask them, hey, look, is it cool if I record this call with you? And normally what I would do is I would just start asking them questions about like, hey, look, tell me about the problems that you go through. Tell me about what you've tried in the past. Tell me why it hasn't worked for you. All these different kind of questions that get them to start talking just about their problems and the kind of solutions that they're looking for. And when I had a ton of
So if you don't know how to write, that's a very good way to do it.
I was just going to say, Sifu, do you mind if I add something real quick?
Anytime. Just jump in.
Back when I had a ton of copywriting clients, like a lot of times what I would do, and I'm sure Ed does this, and any great copywriter, they would do this too, is they would just normally when you get on the phone with your ideal prospect, you just ask them, hey, look, is it cool if I record this call with you? And normally what I would do is I would just start asking them questions about like, hey, look, tell me about the problems that you go through. Tell me about what you've tried in the past. Tell me why it hasn't worked for you. All these different kind of questions that get them to start talking just about their problems and the kind of solutions that they're looking for. And 9 times out of 10, all the best copy comes directly from the client or the customer or whoever you're talking to. So that is something that I've used. I use it every single time that I can. And, you know, sometimes the person you're talking to, it's not always going to come out perfectly, right? But then you just keep on digging. You just keep on asking, hey, can you tell me more about this? Can you share? Can you go a little bit deeper about what you just say? Wait, hang on a second. Could you just say that one more time? What do you mean by that? What do you feel when that something like that happens to you? Right? How does that affect your family? And you start asking them these deep questions. It's very similar to what, if you're a part of HTC, you know, Sifu teaches you this. Again, it's closing in words, right?
Yep, closing in print. Again, the website is rev.com, rev.com. rev.com. You can upload the audio and they can transcribe that for you like very, very cheaply, whatever how much per word. We use that all the time. So closing. It is about closing. So keep it simple. Now, by this point, you thought like writing, copywriting is a very complicated thing. Now, do you feel a little bit more relief? Okay, I see, I'm getting this. It's just the way I talk, right? It's easier than you anticipated, right? It's not as complex. It's like, oh, I thought I gotta be all proper and all professional and my English has to be all perfect. None of that. None of that. It's not about that. It's about, because in one-on-one communication, you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be all 100% perfect. It's not about that. Right? I have people like fucking people with like professors and all that. They read my page or they read my book and they, Mr. Dan Locke, they sent me a long fucking email, right? I see some grammatical errors from your sales page or from your website. And I think, you got to have, represent yourself professionally and you got to make all these changes and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, listen to me. How much are you making now? Do you know how much I make? How much your writing makes you? How much my writing makes me? Case closed. Goodbye. I'm not interested in opinions. In fact, if there's some typos, it's converting sales, I ain't fucking changing that shit. It's working. Maybe when I make it all correct and all properly, all proper grammar, it might not sell as well. So why the fuck would I change it? It's working. Does that make sense? This is all your mental bullshit.
That's so awesome, Sifu. I just want to say that's the funniest
It's mental
thing.
bullshit. I have people, I cannot tell you how many times that people, oh, Mr. Daniel, your FU money book is, you got some, I know there are typos in it. I know that. I cannot tell how many times people tell me there are typos and this and that. Who gives a fuck? It's a best-selling book. It is a best-selling book. Notice, keyword, it is a best-selling book. It's not the best writing book. It is a best-selling book. I'm not a best writing author. I'm a best-selling author.
Damn.
It's about closing. That's the outcome we want. That's the objective. Don't get too hung up on this stuff. And I can tell you, people criticize your copy. They criticize your page. They ain't buying shit from you. They're not the buyers. You think the professor is going to buy? He's not going to buy. So who cares the opinion of someone who's not going to buy? Hello? You think if I change the words, are you going to buy? No. They ain't changing shit. Doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter. Chances are, by the way, like these English major professor, whatever, guess what they're trying to do? They're trying to close me to hire them to edit my stuff. That's what they're trying to do. They're saying, pay me X, I'll help you edit a book. Pay me X, I'll help you edit a page. And I say, unless your writing makes as much money as I do, I ain't interested in you touching my stuff. Like, hello? Like, no offense, they're probably make more money in a month than they make in like their fucking, I don't know, a decade. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not interested in what they have to teach me about writing. My words, my writing impacts more people than they could ever imagine. When we reach millions and millions and millions of people every month. And the students that I've impacted, they're not thinking about, hey, Sifu, you have one little typo here, or you forgot a period here, you forget a comma here. Nobody gives a shit. Isn't it true? Isn't it true? It's not. People pay attention to those things. They don't get it. They do not get it. Okay, you imagine this. We are 2 hours in. I'm not even halfway. My goodness. My goodness. Okay, let me drink some green tea here. My goodness.
This is awesome stuff, Sifu. I hope everyone is getting this and taking a lot of notes. Like, really, it's all about your audience. Who cares about
My goodness.
This is awesome stuff, Sifu. I hope everyone is getting this and taking a lot of notes. Like, really, it's all about your audience. Who cares about the haters, right? Who criticize your writing? It's all about connecting with your audience.
Okay. Are you learning something new? You're getting value? Good, good. Secret number 6, pain instead of pleasure. Most copywriters, even back then when I was starting out, I like to focus a lot on pleasure because human beings, if you study psychology, we only do things for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only, either to gain pleasure or to avoid pain. Those are the 2 biggest motivators that we have. We either do something so that, let's say we go on a vacation, we want to gain pleasure, right? Or we do something to, let's say we have a headache, we take a painkiller, we want to avoid pain. It's one of these 2 things. One of these 2 things. And human beings, take a guess, which one is a more powerful motivator? Tell me. Pain. That's right. Human beings, we will do more to avoid pain compared to gaining pleasure. It's nice, we want to gain pleasure, but giving a choice, not all the time, but most of the time, it's pain. It is pain. So I want you to think about even what motivates you to take action. Think about the different things that you buy, different decisions that you make. Think about your daily life. Do you do more things to gain pleasure or you do more things to avoid pain? Right? So when we are writing copy, I want you to think about people don't buy their way into something, they buy their way out of something. This is very, very important.
That's profound.
I want to let that sink in a bit because you might not be getting this yet. I'll say that one more time. People don't buy their way into something, they buy their way out of something. They want to buy something to get out of the situation that they are in. They want to buy something to get out of the situation that they are in. It's to avoid, exactly, right, Samantha? Out of the 9-to-5 job. Out of something. Out of something. And I want you to think about the people you know, think about the people in your life. Most of your friends, family, relatives around you. Do most people that you know personally talk about their goals and dreams, or are they complaining about the problems that they have? There you go. There you go. So if they are complaining about the problems that they have, an easier way to get their attention if we're selling to anybody is to find out what are they complaining about, and then you use that message and put it in front of them. You put it in front of them. Talk about their problems. Then they immediately resonate. Oh yeah, how do you know? That is my problem. Well, then let's talk about if you want to solve this problem. Aha. Okay, questions so far? Let's see if you have any questions. Put it in the chat. I'll do a little bit of Q&A. Let's see. We'll take a couple questions, then we'll keep going.
I'll keep my eyes out for any good questions.
Curtis is asking, how do you close a copywriting client? A copywriting client, just like any other clients, doesn't matter. Your consulting client, it's the same. My philosophy, my motto, all my students know is very simple. Add value before you ask anything in return. If you're a copywriter, instead of trying to convince people how good you are, in the beginning of my career, was in my early 20s, after I learned from Alan, I started my own one-man advertising agency. Well, how do I get my clients? It's very simple. I add value before I ask anything in return. I call that do or die copywriting, right? Where I basically qualify business owners, not broke, and approach them and say, you know what, let me rewrite this page for you. If it doesn't make you more money, don't pay me. If it makes you more money, can you pay me X? That's how I got my first batch of clients. And that's how I hone my skills. Everybody trying to get money before they deliver results. I said, let me deliver some results first before you pay me. Now, during that time, have I been taken advantage of? Have I written some stuff and people don't pay me? Absolutely. But no one can take away my skills. No one can take away my lessons. That's the difference between a scarcity mindset versus a abundance mindset, right? Which goes beyond than what we're going to talking about, right? I go more, we're going to, no one can take away my lessons. That's the difference between a scarcity mindset versus a abundance mindset, right? Which goes beyond than what we're going to talk about. But no one can take away my skills. No one can take away my lessons. That's the difference between a scarcity mindset versus a abundance mindset, right? Which goes beyond than what we're going to talking about, right? I go more in depth about that in high tier closer, but I'm not worried about that. That person who took advantage of my copy, right? Who didn't pay me, those people, that's okay. They are, guess what? Guess what? Those people still struggling, still broke, save a few dollars versus the Dan Lok today. What does that tell you? Whose philosophy is more impactful? Whose philosophy is more effective? Simple. Okay, question.
All right, I have a few listed out here. Patrick asks, is it bad for a website page to look and feel like a classic long sales page? So I picked this question because I'm sure a lot of people have this question. They're wondering about how to balance good copy, compelling copy with design for their website.
Good question. Good question. Now you notice a lot of my pages, they're still long form, but we test the shit out of it, right? So a lot of this depends on your niche, depends on who you're communicating to. Some cases you might have to break down the pages. Let's say you have a long sales page. Hypothetically, it's 10 pages. You might want to break into 4 or 5 tabs, and people can go through that when they're clicking and they go through one page to another. Depends on industry, depends on who you sell. That might be more effective, but you need to test it because nobody knows. I won't know, you won't know until you test it. Just have a long page and then have a short page. But one thing doesn't change is, write this down, the more you tell, the more you sell. The more you tell, the more you tell, the more you sell. The more you tell, the more you sell. If I have to bet, looking at most people's copy, you're not telling enough, you're not explaining enough, you're not selling enough.
I would strongly agree with this.
Because you would say, oh, you're explain enough. Not most you tell, the more you sell. If I have to bet, looking at most people's copy, you're not telling enough, you're not explaining enough, you're not selling enough.
I would strongly agree with this.
Because you would say, oh, it's too long. Nobody reads this stuff. You are not your customer. You are not your customer. If your stuff is boring, one page is too much. If your stuff is compelling, 16 pages is too short. Just like reading a book. If it's a good book, you want to read 200 pages of it. You cannot put it down. It's a bad book. The first page, you're like, this is shit. This is boring. I don't want to read this. So it's not about the length. It is about how good your copy is and how compelling your copy is and how much selling. It's like my closers, my high-ticket closers. They ask me all the time, Sifu, how long should the closing call be? Like I'm selling a 10K package. Should it be like 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 20 minutes or is it 50 minutes? As long as it takes to close the fucking sale. Hello? As long as it takes to close. If it takes you 65 minutes, it's 65 minutes. If it takes you 80 minutes, it's 80 minutes. Who gives a shit? If you can get it done in 20 minutes, good for you. You're focusing on the wrong thing. As long as it takes to get the job done. I would rather you write too much and then edit back and edit it down. Because I bet if I look at your copy, I can bet 9 out of 10, you're not writing enough. It's not compelling enough. It's not long enough. Your problem is not length. Your problem is too short. I would rather you write as much as you could. You can always edit it back. You can edit it down. Because you know what, this is I'm going too much here. Like or here, I'm just going on and on. On here, it's like I'm losing my audience here. So let's take that out. You can always cut that out. But when you only have like 5 paragraphs to work with, what do you take out? So write more. Write more. You can take out stuff. Do you follow what I'm saying? Good. Let's do one more question. We're going to move on.
All right. So another one that I found, a couple of people asked this, Ambrose, Nick, a few other people, they were asking, how do you improve and practice copywriting for your business or, if you're a copywriter yourself?
One of the greatest, I'll give you 2 or 3. That's a very good question. I'll give you 3 tips. Okay. The first tip is this, where you actually handwrite. You take good sales copy and then you handwrite it and you just copy it. I learned this from my mentor, Alan. And Alan, he taught this to hundreds of people. Only 2 people ever did it. I'm one of them. You take good sales copy and you not type, not on a computer, not on a laptop. You write. You grab a pen and piece of paper, you print that out, and you actually handwrite it. This is extremely powerful. What happens is this. The first, when Alan actually type, only 2 people ever did it. And you just copy it. Just copy it. Where you actually handwrite. You take good sales copy and then you handwrite it. And you just copy it. I learned this from my mentor, Alan. And Alan, he taught this to hundreds of people. Only 2 people ever did it. I'm one of them. You take good sales copy and you not type, not on a computer, not on a laptop. You write. You grab a pen and piece of paper, you print that out, and you actually handwrite it. This is extremely powerful. What happens is this. At first, when Alan taught this to me, I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Why do I need to handwrite this shit? Right? Because my ego, right? I'm all young guy. And I thought I know it all and all this shit, right? But listen to your mentor. Listen to the Sifu. So my Sifu taught me this. He said, just handwrite this. I said, all right, I'll do it. Right? I don't want to do it, but it's like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And first, I write the first few letters. And I'm like, I don't get this. Right? Why do I handwrite this? It's like it's so slow. It's taking a long time. Suddenly, when I'm writing, something clicked. Somehow I got immersed, and I think it's building it's making those connections in my kind of like nervous system. Suddenly, I can imitate the writer's voice, the copywriter's voice. I could feel what he is feeling when he's writing this. It's a very surreal experience. It's like, okay, I am getting this. And I could almost, before even looking at the next paragraph, I can write what he wrote. I'm making those connections because at first to be great, you need to just imitate other people. Learn the basics first. So that's number one. Handwrite copy. Great, proven. Next example, the Wall Street Journal ad, sold 2 billion worth of subscriptions. Isn't that a good ad to handwrite, right? Copy with the handwriting. And you do that and you'll be like, because it's one thing to read it, but when you write it, you're like, okay. You will start building a rhythm. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, you need to start building your swipe file. What do I mean by your swipe file? Any good copy that you see, it could be direct mail, it could be email, it could be like email myself. We have our team, Steven, all the time. We have actually an email account where we subscribe to a lot of different entrepreneurs, companies, marketers. We're on their list. And we actually create all these folders. Whenever we get the email, we will archive them. So we're building up this massive, I call them the vault, right? Virtual vault of ideas and copy and everything that we have. And myself, like my library, Steven's been to my library. My library is a goldmine. My library, it is a goldmine, literally. Because I've collected so many proven pieces, ideas, copy. You won't believe. I go back to like from long time ago, from a lot of different master copywriters, right? Like I have probably in my library, I don't know, maybe 60 of these 3-ring binders that I have, all with like different copy and sales pages and stuff. I actually have people. I've had like entrepreneurs who offer me $5,000 just go into my library, sit there for a day. Then I'll give you $5,000. Just let me be in your library for a day. I don't even need you here because they know what I have, right? A lot of stuff that I have, it's you can't get it. You can't even buy it with money, right? So what happens is when you build up your swipe, like I could go into my library, I can pull out a binder, and that binder, let's say, has the Wall Street Journal ad or whatever. Like it would have like 3-ring binder. It would have maybe, let's say, 30 sales letters or 30 marketing messages and ads. That 30 ads that produced could be like 100 million, 200 million, $1 billion in sales. Imagine I have that to go to. Now, you won't get that overnight, but you need to start building that right now. You need to start building that right now, right? So start building your own swipe file. Tip number 3. You need to learn how to piece different things together before. When I need to write copy, that to go to. Now, you won't get that overnight, but you need to start building that right now. You need to start building that right now, right? So start building your own swipe file. Tip number 3, you need to learn how to piece different things together before. When I need to write copy, I do not stare in front of a blank computer and write. That is the dumbest thing you can do. Amateurs, write this down. Amateurs copy, professionals steal. Amateurs copy, professionals steal. So when I need to write something, let's say I need a guarantee for this particular offer. I don't fucking sit down there and just like try to come up with a guarantee. That's dumb. I just go to my library and say, hey, there are 50 ways I can do this guarantee. So, you've heard of let's say the 30-day money back guarantee, right? I've heard of the 30-day money back guarantee. You've seen that before, right? Yeah. Like I could say, okay, you have the 30-day, you have the 60-day, you have 90-day, you have the double your money back guarantee, you have the triple guarantee, you could have the doc-aided guarantee, you can have guarantee, give your money back, but you can keep the bonuses guarantee. I could go on and on and on, right? I have this archive of like so many different kinds of guarantee. I go in there, boom, okay, modify a few words, done. What's next? Right? You have so many, but versus, what kind of guarantee could I do? Because you don't know enough yet, right? You don't know enough yet. And that's the thing where you have Like I get my copywriting skill because, of course, I learned from my mentor, Alan, my Sifu. That's where I learned it from, because he could critique my stuff. So ideally, you have someone critiquing your stuff, someone looking over your stuff with experience. That's how I teach Ad. That's how I teach Steven, right? Steven would write something, I would take a look, and I would say, that's not good. Or actually, maybe Steven explain a little bit of that process. That might be helpful to the DoD family.
Absolutely. So I do want to just point one thing out. I know that some people take things very literally. When Sifu says, great artists steal, we're not supposed to steal. Of course, like we have to be very careful with that. We take what Sifu is really saying is we just swipe the big ideas, right?
Yeah, you're not okay. There's a big difference, because that's a philosophy, not a tactic. Sometimes students, especially my new students, you take it so literally.
Out of context.
Out of context. That's plagiarism. That's illegal.
Yes.
Right? But you can take ideas, you can take concepts, right? You can take those ideas, okay, I could do that, and I can modify it. That's what I'm talking about.
It's really what it is just modeling success. It's like if you see somebody at the gym with a six-pack, you're going to do what they do, right? Same thing in your business. If you see somebody with a successful marketing campaign, copywriting campaign, advertising, you model it.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah. Like the pretend if I'm going to sell a financial newsletter or subscription like Wall Street Journal, wouldn't it make sense to go back to, hey, this is an ad that's produced $2 fucking billion, right? Maybe I could use that. And instead of using the two, like I know I need a contrast, I need two characters, right? Two people. I just come up with a slightly different story and just do that. But I swipe the idea of the two people story. And I can apply that to anything. Now, this is kind of fun. Let's say let's say test that concept. Because then on demand is a subscription model, isn't it? It's a subscription model. So I'm like, okay, if I want to do that, maybe I would say, hey, Steven, let's come up with something where we actually, in the beginning, instead of just what we have now on demand, let's split test a page, two people. Let's start with two people. One with a tenacity, with a desire to develop high income skills, versus the other person who don't have a high income skills. I could easily do that kind of parable, right? Does that make sense? I can
totally
easily do that. Right? Boom, right there. I take a proven concept. They sold $2 billion worth of stuff, put it into demand, we can get it going, and there you go. I've got a proven concept.
You guys see how that works?
You guys see how that works? I can easily do it.
We're borrowing that big idea and applying it to demand. Are we going to sell a Wall Street Journal? We're not, but because we're selling a subscription through demand, we can swipe that idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm talking. But you won't know what to swipe if you don't have a big archive, right? And you're not going to get that overnight. And see, that's the difference. The 97%, when they see these ads, let's say they buy a magazine, they read the article. The 3%, we read the ads. When I get mail in the mailbox, most people, they go to the credit card bills, statements, all that stuff first. I go to the junk mail first. I look at the ads first. I look at, okay, this is an interesting piece. Look at the envelope. Most people, guess what? They think it's trash and they just throw it away. Like the idea of the two people story. And I can apply that to anything. Now, this is kind of fun. Let's say let's say test that concept. Because then on demand is a subscription model, isn't it? It's a subscription model. So I'm like, okay, if I want to do that, maybe I would say, hey, Steven, let's come up with something where we actually, in the beginning, instead of just what we have now on demand, let's split test a page, two people. Let's start with two people. One with a tenacity, with a desire to develop high income skills, versus the other person who don't have a high income skills. I could easily do that kind of parable, right? Does that make sense? I can easily do that. Right? Boom, right there. I take a proven concept. They sold $2 billion worth of stuff, put it into data on demand, we can get it going, and there you go. I've got a proven concept.
You guys see how that works?
You guys see how that works? I can
So
easily do it.
we're borrowing that big idea and applying it to data on demand. Are we going to sell a Wall Street Journal? We're not, but because we're selling a subscription through data on demand, we can swipe that idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
Isn't
that's
that
what
cool?
I'm talking. But you won't know what to swipe if you don't have a big archive, right? And you're not going to get that overnight. And see, that's the difference. The 97%, when they see these ads, let's say they buy a magazine, they read the article. The 3%, we read the ads. When I get mail in the mailbox, most people, they go to the credit card bills, statements, all that stuff first. I go to the junk mail first. I look at the ads first. I look at, okay, this is an interesting piece. Look at the envelope. Most people, guess what? They think it's trash and they just throw it away because their awareness level is too low to recognize what is important. The bill doesn't make you rich. The bill just makes you more poor. But this, I turn trash into cash. That's the difference. I look at the junk mail, it's like, this is interesting. That's a very nice envelope. I like how they have the teaser copy in the outside envelope. Huh, that's a nice headline. That's a nice order form. Do you see the difference in mentality? How you look at different things? I can't help because that's my mindset. When I go into a restaurant, Jenny knows when I go into a restaurant, one time we were in a restaurant, in like a fancy restaurant, and we're sitting down, we're having a nice, like kind of like a date, a dinner, and very nice environment. And I'm looking at the menu, right? And I'm talking to Jenny. I said, you see this? Damn, this is good copy. I said, how they describe, the lobster, right? How they describe the seafood and like, look at this. This is so awesome. And you see the pricing, how they put this first. So there's contrast pricing, right? And then the waiter walks by and is talking about the daily special, the wine and all. Damn, I'm like, hold on a second. Say that again. I'm taking my iPhone. I'm like, say that again. I said, that's a good fucking script. Say that again, right? And then James like, can you just give it a rest? Can you fucking turn this off? Can we just have a nice dinner? I said, we will have a nice dinner, but you finish the pitch first, waiter, right? I'll give you extra tip.
That's
I'm
awesome.
serious. I cannot turn it off because it's the way that I think. People see things as just as it is, but my mentees, high-tech closers, Sifu sees things like the matrix. I see the green code. I see things that people don't see. I see money-making ideas. I see insights. I see depth. I see things that people don't see. I get value from things people just overlook. Right? When we go to Disney, I'll go to Disney almost every year. Almost every year. I've been to Disney, Disneyland, Disney World many, many times. I love going to Disney. It is a money-making machine. I learn so much every time I go. Every time I go. I'm like, that's a damn. Like, I would go there. I love, one of the things, my favorite things to do to go to Disney is to go to the Disney, the resort, the timeshare pitch. I love it. I got to go to the timeshare pitch. Before I go into the rides, let me sit through the timeshare pitch. I'm like, they're so good. They are so fucking good, right? They do the closing, they present, and then they do the little bit of the reverse psychology. I'm like, this is beautiful. This is beautiful, right? How they do it. And I go on, like they have the upsell in the store and how they set up the traffic flow and how they get you buying these pins. Everything Disney does at a theme park is designed to maximize their profits. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I see things that people don't see. I see things, and you can see. Can you imagine when you can think like that, how easy it is to come up with money-making ideas, profit-generating ideas? That's why people say, oh, well, see how do I make money? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Money is everywhere. It's so easy to make money. Now, I know maybe your awareness is not quite there yet. Because if this is the first time you're learning from me, but really, and you ask anyone, like HTC, isn't money everywhere? Isn't opportunities everywhere? Hello? Right? Anyone who's like really my student, they all get it. It's like, it's everywhere. It's not, it is not difficult. It is not, write this down. Making money is not difficult, but it's very, very different. It's not difficult, it's different. There's a way for you to win in this game, but it's very different from the way that you've been playing it. Because before, the way is different. But it is not, write this down. Making money is not difficult, but it's very, very different. It's not difficult, it's different. There's a way for you to win in this game, but it's very different from the way that you've been playing it. Because before, you try to make money with no skills. That's why it doesn't work. That's why everything you try, it didn't work. Because you're betting on the thing instead of betting on you. Betting on yourself. Betting on your skills. There's no one else you can count on but yourself. It's not about the vehicle. It is not about the vehicle. It's easy. When you get it, when you have the skills, when you can see things, you can get an idea from everywhere.
We all know the frustrating challenges of having to find the inspiration and sometimes motivation to create copy from scratch that generates sales.
You want to demonstrate and show that you are the expert. Now, how do you do that? We talked a little bit about this already. Because nowadays, our consumers, potential prospects, are they skeptical? Yes or no? Do they have more choices than ever because of the internet? People are skeptical. So don't talk to them when you write copy as if they're not skeptical. Talk to them as if they are skeptical. Most people, when they write copy, here's what they do. They assume, oh, they like me, trust me, and understand me. No! Hell no. When you're writing copy, when you're closing in print, assume they don't like you, they don't trust you, and they don't know you. What do you have to do to build credibility and build trust? Assuming they don't like you, they don't know you, and they don't trust you. What do you have to do? What do you have to say? It's a very big mistake. All the marketing that we do, I assume people are skeptical. On social media, I don't blame them. Because most people, they have the lower self. They have been burned. Right? They don't know. Or their awareness level is low. It's normal. It's normal. So I don't talk to them. I don't write copy to them as if they already trust me. They already know me. I assume they don't like me. They don't trust me. They don't know me. Good. Let's start there. So I don't ask for anything. Value. 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 Let me ask you this. I'm gonna do a almost a test here. Okay. How many of you join Dan on Demand because you've been following me on social media for quite some time? And the minute that we offer Dan on Demand, you don't really quite even know what it is, but you're like, okay, if Dan is offering it, it's affordable to me, I'm in. How many of you do that? I want you to look at the chat. There you go. There you go. That's the proof. There's all the proof that you need right here. Does this work? Because I have offered value upfront first. Because you know, if you study my work, how many have this thought? Well, if I get this much value from Dan's like free stuff, I bet I can get some definitely more value if I learn from him in person, if I actually join a class. It's a very logical thought. It's the easiest thing to do. Versus you don't, if let's say I'm talking to a prospect who doesn't know me, doesn't know anything about me, who I have not built credibility with, who is skeptical, and I tell them and approach them, hey, I've got Dan on Demand as subscription. I'm going to teach a class every month. Come on, man. Join this. It's so cool. Join this. You see a problem with that? You see how, it just doesn't work. But yet that's how most people sell. That's how most of you guys sell. That's why you're not selling as much as you want. You're not moving as many products as you want. Versus I flip the model. And it's okay. Like a lot of people, when they say, you know what, you don't want to join, you don't need to buy anything from me, you don't want to. Keep enjoying, because I know for a fact, with our reach, a huge percentage, probably 99% of the people will never be able, or they're not qualified, or they're not ready to do business. You getting this? I know that. I know they're not qualified. I know they're not ready. I know it could be mentally, could be situationally. It doesn't matter. I know they're not ready. That's okay. They don't need to buy. Keep watching the YouTube video. I'm happy that I can impact them in that way. It's perfectly fine. One more person joining what I do, one more person joining DOD, one more person joining whatever XTC is not going to make a difference to my financial life. Do you get it? It is not going to make not one iota, zero. It is not going to make a difference in my life. The only thing that will make a difference is it's if they implement what I know, it's going to make a difference in their life. That's why I'm not attached. I want to help them, but I'm not attached. They don't want my help. They don't want my help. There are plenty of people who want my help. I help people help themselves. So results, numbers, stats, research. What could you do? What could you do? What are some things you could use? I'll give you a perfect example. This is a mentee of mine. His name is Gary Wong. He is a very successful real estate agent in Vancouver. And I taught him this concept. This is his website. Now, first of all, he's got a fucking book. How many realtors have a book? And you go to the homepage, the first thing you see, $87 million worth of homes sold, 356 YouTube videos uploaded, 2,858 hours of negotiations, 5,643 hours of MBA knowledge, $200,000 worth of personal and business training invested. Stats, numbers. See, if he doesn't stake those on his website, how do people know? So think about, are there numbers that you could use in your copy? So right there, they say you don't know anything about Gary. You hit the homepage, you see the book, you see this. It gives you a very quick glimpse in seconds what he's done and what he's about. So versus you go to another real estate agent, or satisfaction guarantee. We do open houses. See how stupid that is, doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. Versus something like this. So think about what you could use. What numbers could you use? So it's like one thing when I say, and you can see I did this actually in the beginning. If you listen to this again, you listen to this class again in the beginning. I said it. I just used this copywriting technique. I said we have students, HTC, from over 100 countries. Didn't I say that? Remember? Yeah. I just used a copywriting technique right there. It's one thing to say, oh, we have a lot of students from a lot of different places. But suddenly when I say from 100 countries, how many of you, when you heard the 100 countries, you're like, whoa, holy shit. That's a global organization. That's a global movement here, right? They're like, wow, that's a lot of students from a lot of different places. So you see the difference? So what I did, this is cool. So I used the technique. Now I pause and explain the technique that I just used. Isn't that cool? So think about when you are writing copy. Are there numbers, statistics that you could use? Are there things that you could use? Don't use, oh, I have so many clients. I have been in business for a long time. No, I have been in business for 20 years. I've been in business for 10 years. I've worked with 325 clients. I've solved X amount of problems. I have produced $2,574 for my clients. You see the difference? It's very powerful when you do that. Don't use vague numbers. Don't use vague numbers.